Hello, hello, good evening. All right, guys, we are really late. I don't mind hanging out, but come on, join us. You guys are at the bar. Come this way. Let's get this program started, huh? Woo. Right on. I want to, first of all, thank you guys for choosing to spend your evening with us tonight. That's pretty cool. Tonight is an excuse to say we're celebrating our 8th anniversary. We've been doing, yay, thank you. Thank you. We celebrated the last time we were here also because we were coming up on the 8th, and now we've passed the 8th, so this is another good excuse. So hopefully you grabbed a cupcake or two. That's the least I can do for you all. I see some on the back side tables. Those are for the taking. Go home with those cupcakes. All right, so those of you who have been here before know the drill. Those of you who have not been here before, let me just tell you really quick the way this all works. So the first couple of hours are set up for you guys all to get to know each other, eat some good tacos outside, hang out with our sponsors, get a drink or two or whatnot, and then this part of the night is when we actually sit down and pay attention and be quiet. The bartender in the back has now moved into the side room. If you haven't discovered the side room, there's a side back area where there's a bar. Feel free to go grab beverages inside, or if you want to have a conversation, please refrain from speaking in the back. Take your conversation in the side room or outside, okay? Yeah, so I'm curious, who's here for the first time? I always like to see that. Nice, good guys, well welcome, thank you, excellent. Yeah, so this started 8 years ago as an experiment of sort. I was one of the guys that helped start a company called Meetup.com, and we were in the business of getting people off the internet into the real world, and I started the San Francisco Tech Meetup to eat my own dog food and to get in a room with other geeks, and had no design for how this was going to turn out. And now 8 years later, we can say we have a community upwards of 14,000 people. And are supported by some amazing sponsors and have no shortage of startups that are begging us to get up on this stage. And they're begging us to get us on this stage to be in front of you guys, because you guys are the heart and soul of the tech community. So a round of applause for you guys. Yeah. I've also didn't ever think I was going to be any sort of MC growing up, so I just make the stuff up as I go, okay? All right, so we have a few quick, exciting announcements tonight. First and foremost, who here that had registered got the email from us saying, hey, we have a mobile app? Who here downloaded? Okay, cool. Well, welcome. This is something that is the first step in that direction. But yeah, so we're working closely with Double Dutch, local company, one of which Lawrence Coburn, he's the CEO. He presented his prior company called Rated All at SFNT like 7 years ago. So he has an awesome mobile app, enterprise mobile app solution. So we're testing it and kicking the tires and doing that good stuff. And here's your opportunity to comment on what's going on, check into different things. There's a leaderboard, as you can see, and the top 5 folks on the leaderboard tonight are going to get a free ticket to our next event. So I urge you to kind of dive in there. We're using this as an excuse to take a step back from our regular tweet wall that we do, and I encourage you guys to use your social, plug your social credentials or whatnot into the app to then tweet out from there. And then it's going to end up on our big board. Oh, look, the photos are working out. Yeah. And there are a lot of other cool things about the app, too, as you can find. Okay, so play with the app, get used to it, because you're going to have to get used to it. That's just a hint. Okay, also, through the app, you're going to see a tab for SFNT Invest. That's our little homegrown app, which is giving the power to you guys to rate the companies that you see on stage here with some imaginary dollars. Everybody that logs into SFNT Invest receives $1 million to spend tonight on your favorite startup. So use the tool, and at the end of the night, we're going to see who invests in who, and I think that's a great indication of what the as I said, the heart and soul of the tech scene, thinks of some of the innovation that's put in front of them. And also the winner of that, who goes home with the most money, is going to get a lifelong subscription to a cool tool called Founders Suite, which is founded and run by a friend of mine, Nathan. And they're tools for startups, productivity tools and templates for fundraising and media and PR and investor updates. Check it out if you haven't already. So who's ever going to win tonight is going to go home with that, whether they need it or not. I want to thank a couple of quick thank yous, and then we'll get to our sponsors and then on to the demos. I want to thank Manuel for building SFNT Invest. I want to thank Jimmy G here on the console. We're streaming live tonight, and maybe you can tweet out that other folks can join us just by visiting sfnewtech.com. This is in full HD, 3 cameras or more. I don't know what's going on anymore, but it's awesome. And we archive all these videos, and you can go watch them later on our YouTube channel. Okay. And I wanted, actually, this is kind of sad, but I just wanted, somebody in our community passed away on Sunday. He was somebody that actually was close to our family, and I just want to just give Daniel some recognition here. You guys don't mind, do you? No. If I can do this with one hand, where's Daniel? So here's Daniel right here. Daniel had a consulting group called Amoeba, and he was kind of like a really cool hack house here in town. And he was instrumental in us putting together SFNT Invest. And this morning I'm on Facebook, and I found out that he passed away, which is a shame. Here is Daniel on his Segway, not giving a fuck. And hopefully he went out the same way. And that's sad, and I don't want to make you guys sad, but I think it deserves recognition. So thank you, Daniel. We love you, buddy. Okay. Oh, no, I'm all choked up. All right, so we couldn't do this without our sponsors. Big ups to a friend of mine, Eric Ferraro. He runs a law firm called Fathom Law. Eric came and drank beers with us the very first time we did this event back in 2006, and he's been with us ever since. So if you want a lawyer, if you've got a startup and you want a lawyer that actually understands what you're saying and it's not some big crazy firm down in the valley, Fathom Law, check them out. Ask for Eric. Again, big thanks to Double Dutch for our app. And thanks to our friends from Microsoft, who we're going to hear from in just a second, and Twitter. First time in the house with Twitter for, thank you for your support, Twitter. We're going to hear from Ryan in a second, too. Okay, so let's bring Microsoft up. We're going to get a quick 1-2 on Outlook. So is Arushi available? Come on up. Arushi flew down from a little town called Seattle or Redmond to be with us. It's a beautiful town, yes. So we'll switch you over.
Hello, everyone. I'm Arushi Agrawal, Product Marketing Manager with Microsoft. I met a few folks, few of you, sometime before. Do you hear me okay? Okay. Yeah, so I'm here to tell you what are the new features in Outlook.com. And I have Hassan Khan and George Zhang with me. They'll be hanging around at the booth. We all are willing to listen to you, get your feedback, and incorporate it direct into the product. So feel free to come by, stop by, talk to us, share your feedback, and tweet using #meetoutlook. So before I start, I'm going to ask you a quick question. For how many of you, the first thing you do when you get to work is check your emails? Cool. So almost everybody. And if I ask, how many of you check your emails at least 5 times a day, maybe on laptop, phone, or doing it right now, I can see. So yeah, great. We hear the need for email is declining, but it is still an important means of communication, and you all just confirmed that. So let's start by discussing what are the key issues we face with email today. So research says 80% of the email we receive today is commercial emails, certain promotional emails, and that adds a lot of clutter to our mailbox. I'm sure you all want a good way to manage your mailbox so that you can get rid of this clutter and an important mail doesn't skip your site. Moreover, if you want to share a large file, say you want to send 50 photos to your friend, how would you do that? That's a big issue. And what's more tough is how do you communicate with people who don't like email? Say I have to ask a friend to join me for dinner tonight and I send her a nice email and she doesn't even look at it. How do I talk to her? So I'm going to show you how Outlook.com does a great job at solving some of these issues. I've pulled up my Outlook.com account here. As you can see, it's a nice and clean UI, free of all ads. And this is my inbox here. Most of the emails are commercial email out here. And I have a lot of notifications from Travelzoo of late. So I knew I was coming to Bay Area to talk to you all. And while booking flight, this pop-up came up to sign up for some deals in Bay Area. And I thought it's a good idea. I did that. But I don't need so many emails from them. It's adding clutter to my mailbox. I can choose to read them one by one and delete. Or I can use this cool feature sweep in my inbox here, where in one click I can delete all the emails from this ID. Or I can choose to keep the latest one and delete the rest. And in this case, I'm going to do just that because one email is good enough for me. And once I go back, maybe I don't even need to be subscribed to this deals anymore. So I'm going to unsubscribe. And you know, it's such a pain to look for that small little unsubscribe option down below in the newsletter hidden somewhere. And Outlook.com, at Outlook.com, we have done a great job to list an unsubscribe option right within Actions. Within one click, I'll be able to unsubscribe once I go back. So yeah, these are some cool features to manage your mailbox out here. And this is the reading pane that you see on the right where I'm showing this message. By the way, it looks like there are some cool places nearby to see. That's what the deals are telling me. And I just love traveling a lot. And so I'm going to show you a new feature on sharing files. Of late, I had gone to Vegas with my friends, and we took a lot of photos, and we used Outlook.com to share all those files there. I'm going to show it to you how I did that. I'll add my friend here, and I want to insert all my files. I've shared all the photos on OneDrive. So these are all my photos from Vegas trip, and there are a lot, if you can see. I can't normally mail them, but with OneDrive, I can just share this folder, and look, in one go, I've sent all the folders. I'm going to send it anyway without the subject. So over 200 photos, I just shared in one click over email without bothering to attach them. And we were also talking about how do we communicate with people who do not like to email. So with friends, I'm sure you connect with them on Facebook, and with family, it's mostly Skype. And in Outlook.com, all your Skype and Facebook contacts are integrated. You don't have to go outside of Outlook into Skype or Facebook specifically to talk to them. I can just pull up my friends here and talk to them. So these are some cool features and new features in Outlook.com. Continue using it. And please stop by our booth and share your feedback. Let us know more about your experiences with it. Beyond Outlook.com, we also have Outlook for Business, which you use when you subscribe for Office 365 and you use it more for your business purposes. So hope you like Outlook.com, and do stop by our booth. Feel free to collect this free swag we are giving away. It's the portable chargers that we are giving. Cool. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Outlook. Thank you, Microsoft. And next up, I want to introduce you to Ryan Choi from Twitter. What? Who? From Twitter? Little company in town? Yeah. Oh, you didn't need it up there? Nope, don't need it. Okay. You need this?
Thank you. While this gets loaded, sorry, I got a mic check. First, I wanted to thank Miles for just doing an amazing job for 8 years. Round of applause to him. You know, when we met, actually, it was me coming to one of these events at was it Razer? No, AKQA. the amount of talkers, the speakers, what they were talking about in terms of design was like mind-blowing, but also really relevant to what startups do. And it just seemed like an awesome fit for Twitter to come here, sponsor, and at least have an opportunity to talk to you guys about how we can be useful. Am I on timer yet? I will be in a second. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Okay, so as part of Twitter, we're here to actually help you scale with Twitter. I know there are a bunch of startups here. I spend a lot of time at startups, and what is on my mind all the time is how can we be useful to help growth for your startup, whatever it might be. A little background about me. I was actually an early engineer at Salesforce, and so I cut my teeth on Java, on SOAP. I built the API, and I love just building APIs for platform reach and for innovation. It's just what's in my blood. I also started a little company called StyleUp that was fortunate enough to be in YC. Amazing experience there, and so I love talking about that if that's of interest to you. And lastly, I am now a developer advocate at Twitter. I've had, I'd say, a really fortunate run, but Twitter has been an amazing place to be in terms of the amount of things that I can learn. We are hiring for our developer advocacy team. We're also hiring across the board, so if you are interested, feel free to stop by the booth and please talk to us. We want to meet you. Seriously, 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 want to meet everybody here. What we like to say in terms of what Twitter is able to offer, one of the things is we're able to distribute worldwide scale. People use Twitter around the world. That's an interesting thing, but specific to startups, when you can have amazing content come into Twitter, we can help you scale that everywhere. As an example, we have, I don't know if you guys remember the Asiana crash. Raise the hands, Asiana crash, right? That actually broke on Twitter through this picture right here. We had all these publishing houses come to us, say, hey, can we use that information? Can we distribute that? The guy who actually posted it, David Un, was so thankful, or so gracious about sharing that information. The reason I bring this up is because this content was brought in by another awesome platform named Path. Their integration, his ability to tweet to his friends and his followers made this thing go nuts on Twitter and reach, I'm not even kidding, like 500 million people through our syndication products. And in talking to Path, they were like, that is exactly the kind of thing that we want to happen with our integration with Twitter. Right? And so bringing content into Twitter helps give that distribution and that reach. Additionally, we like to think of Twitter as the shortcut between your users and their interests. And it's a broad thing to say because we're building a platform where that's actually happening, specifically around startups. Does anyone here know about a company called Frontback? Frontback is this cool little app where you take a picture of yourself, it's a selfie, and what you're seeing. And it's going nuts on Twitter because people love sharing the selfie, but what they're seeing. They've done an amazing integration in Twitter. Here you have a guy who hung out with MC Hammer. Great content, great distribution. You guys all know about the whole Flappy Bird, right? This is actually from a search through Twitter of #FlappyBird. These are all the people posting about Flappy Bird. They got amazing distribution through using the Twitter platform, maybe to the demise of Flappy Bird. But when things go viral on Twitter, it helps. In his case, we'd say it helps, but he made the decision to shut it down. And lastly, oh, no audio. This is, I'm sure you guys might have heard of an app called Vine. Now, whether or not your outcome is to get acquired by another company, that's cool. But ultimately, building an amazing app that President Obama uses, that to me is pretty successful. They're pretty stoked about it, and we're able to help them get reach through the Twitter platform. We're growing. These are the charts to show that we actually have the reach and can give offer influence to get you in front of your users and their interests. We're here from the Twitter Developer Relations team again. We are here to help you if you have questions about how to integrate, what works for your type of app, your type of startup on the Twitter platform, whether it's cards or APIs or open source libraries. Bootstrap, anyone heard of Bootstrap? Yeah. Well, I love it as a developer, and we're trying to do things that are in service of developers, no joke. You need ideas, dev.twitter.com. And so the only thing I'll say is absolutely stop by in the back and #how can we help. Thank you so much again, Miles, and we're happy to talk about anything you want to talk about. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Twitter. Good stuff. Okay, moving on, Mr. Goldstein. So here's a fellow that just reminded me we met like upwards of 19 years ago in New York City during the first .com days. Remember Pathfinder? Remember how Duracell was the most innovative marketer on the internet? Anyway, no, Seth and I have known each other for a while, and Seth has done some amazing stuff, one of which is co-authoring a book called The Secret of Raising Money. And he's done it enough times that he's willing to now share some of his insights. And he's going to tell us a little bit about his book. And he's also the CEO of a company called DJZ and Crossfader. Is Crossfader a DJZ product, or is it a different company? So, they have an awesome product called Crossfader that we're going to hear about. We're going to hear it. We're going to hear it big time right after we hear about the secret of raising money. So let's, oh, you're up. Let's do it. Seth.
Thank you. Yeah, so Miles and I and Scott Heiferman and Clay Shirky and a couple of other folks were sort of the Silicon Alley 1995 sort of first wave diaspora. And those were good times. And we really felt like we were inventing the future. And now we're older and have kids. Yeah, so I wrote a book with one of our co-founders at DJZ called The Secret of Raising Money because Michael, who's not here today, was a freshly minted, Yale / investment banker and thought he knew everything to know about finance and economics until he met me and saw what really goes on in the sausage factory when you're trying to raise money. And he's like, wow, like I'm seeing all these things and I've never really read about what goes on behind the scenes from the entrepreneur's perspective and how can entrepreneurs actually create some semblance of leverage. And so he and I spent a couple months writing down kind of some of these lessons, breaking into a couple chapters. We launched it a couple weeks ago online at thesecretofraisingmoney.com. And I thought I'd share a couple of key highlights and open it up to some Q&A if people have any particular. It's a little bit like a self-help, like end of Wolf of Wall Street kind of thing where you've got a startup, you don't know how to raise money for it. I can kind of be your Tony Robbins and help you feel the charge and feel the power to do it yourself and walk through coals and do it. So we'll see if somebody's brave enough to kind of share and be vulnerable. So I think you have to start, I mean, how many people here are currently raising money or think you're going to be needing to raise money in the next couple months? What was that? Oh, I'm sorry, I just can't see. I'll just get blinded instead. Here's my sunglasses? No. Never mind, it's a joke. It's a really tough time to raise money. You read about the huge financings that are going on with Uber and Dropbox, and you think, wow, there's so much money going around. In some ways, you can think of it like a barbell. At the very, very early stages, it's easier where it's just a concept. There's a great saying that there's nothing like numbers to ruin a good story. And early on, you haven't screwed up and you haven't missed anything because it's just a concept. And people will back that. And then all the way through to the point where you're taking off and everything is going up and to the right and you're generating lots of revenue is also a relatively easy time and people are rushing to get into those deals. But if you're like the vast majority of people in between, it's really a grind. So you start with being able to answer this, which is, why is your solution inevitable? And I keep coming back to that word, like the inevitability. Like it has to be like a holy messianic kind of thing where you really, you see it, you believe it, that it's inevitable. And as we've talked to really some great VCs the last couple months and put some of the content in the book, Fred Wilson, Brad Feld, Mark Suster, Naval from AngelList, Google Ventures, David Crane, John Callahan from True. What I hear again and again is what captivates them is the entrepreneur that comes to them that just has that look in their eye. It doesn't really matter where they're from. Obviously, the more technical, the better. But just that feeling that they're going to figure it out. They don't know exactly how they're going to get there. There's a saying that leaders can believe something before they see it. Most people need to see it to believe it. So you need to really convey that. In the book, we go into this notion of social proof and scarcity. Even the best investors are lemmings, which is they chase hot deals. How do you create that deal heat as an entrepreneur? If you have 5 term sheets, that's great, that's easier. I've had a couple companies that took off so quickly, so aggressively, I just kind of went from VC to VC. I spent a couple years in 99, 2000 as a VC with Fred Wilson in New York. I've been a pretty active angel. And you see when the tables turn. So these are 2 concepts that can help. So social proof is, other smart people are investing. And the first investor that you get, that you associate yourself with, or the first advisor that you associate yourself with, is really, really important. So I have 5 more minutes, Miles? So I'll finish this, then I can do a couple minutes of Q&A. Okay. So a couple companies ago, I started an investment research company. And we had investors as clients. And I was very deliberate when we started to get the smartest of the smart hedge funds to be our first clients, because if they're your first clients, then the dumber mutual funds will follow, right? It's the same thing with VCs. It's okay, you got to be careful about name dropping, but if and when you do, just make sure you're starting with a name that's just impeccable. The first investor in DJs was Danny Reimer at Index Ventures, and I'll put him up against anybody in the business in terms of the quality as an investor. So just be really super mindful of that. And then scarcity is this is a common selling technique, limited time offer. We're going to close this down the next week or couple weeks. But just think about how you can use those 2 things to your advantage. Kind of a broader conversation, probably not now, but debt versus equity. Michael and I differ. I actually think straight equity, priced equity is the way to go these days. I'd say a couple years ago, you'd see a lot of companies, a lot of Y Combinator companies saying, okay, we've got an open note with no cap, or an open note with a $20 million cap for an idea. Investors don't want to invest in uncapped notes. They want to be on the same side of the table as the entrepreneur. They want to know exactly what they're buying, how much it's going to cost. If they're going to buy 10% for $1 million, they want to know that now. They don't want to give you money and have you create a much more valuable company and then own less of it. But can't really go through that right now. You want to compose a really good, awesome email to your prospective investors about traction, social proof, product, and team. That should go without saying. And finally, think about AngelList as your corporate homepage. So if you're a service, obviously, for customers, consumers, enterprises, that's what your website's all about. But more and more, I think investors want to go to, particularly early stage investors, want to go to AngelList in particular and have apples to apples. So the way that you compose your profile as a company in AngelList is something you should spend a lot of time on. I think that's it. So maybe I've got 3 minutes. Any good questions out there? Any particular challenges you're finding in terms of raising money? Let me hear you loud and clear.
So
Shout it to the heavens.
I'm wondering, so if you're going through the thing of trying to raise money and things are not going well, do you put a time limit on it? At what point do you have any sort of suggestions for when you should bail out and think of things to do other than try to raise money?
When you should bail out in terms of trying to raise money, or when you should shut down your business, or when you should go get a job, or all of the above?
So I guess, raising money from angels and the sort of thing you're talking about is a particular type of thing. Maybe there's other ways you've got to do it. Maybe instead of going for the huge big idea, you're going to go for the shoestring budget with you know, eating ramen kind of approach. I mean, I don't know. There's always something you can do, I assume, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, that's a complicated question. I think it really depends on you and like what the idea is and how much you put into it and how much money you have to spend on it, and do you have any rich uncles, or you know, what space the idea is in. I mean, has anybody seen Tin Cup with Kevin Costner? I've been thinking about that a lot lately. You know, the end of it when, like, you know, he can just win if he just like skips the hole, but for Christ's sake, he's going to get over that water, and he just goes on and on and on. Like, that's what it feels like to be an entrepreneur, and particularly to be doing like a music company like I am. Like, it's horrible, right? In terms of like, people hate music deals. So it's a compulsion, it's a pathology. It's not really like a choice. I wish I could choose to do something like enterprise cloud security encryption storage or something. But then I wouldn't get to work with such awesome people. Well, I mean, not that there's not awesome people in enterprise cloud encryption software security systems, but just keep going. But I don't know. There's no really good answer to that.
Back here. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
So my question is about basically when. So if you have that, you know, inevitable idea, at what point of the development of the idea should you ask for money? And then also related to that is like how big should that initial request, how big should that be?
So a couple years ago, I was working on a concept for an incubator called Up and to the Right. And I have up2rt.com that I was going to use. And the idea was to give $100,000 to a couple of entrepreneurs to allow them to build something for 100 days that ended up with a key metric going up and to the right. And if they couldn't do that, you know, you kind of split them apart and get them working on something else. But you know, it depends what the idea is. It depends, you know, there's a lot of depends. But I think a couple $100,000 is probably what you need to get 5 or 6 months and a couple of people. You know, depends whether it's consumer facing or enterprise facing or mobile or web based. But maybe 2 or 3 people to work for 4 or 5 months to build something that's compelling. And then, ironically, you want to raise money kind of when you have a really exciting prototype, but maybe before you've launched it. Because the minute you launch it, they're going to want to weight you to death and just want to watch it without committing. And maybe you hit it so hard when you launch, it just crushes it, and then they're all chasing you. You know, but chances are it's not going to happen. You know, you want to really raise money when you've got the maximum promise. Optimize around promise, around hope.
Oh, hi.
My time.
Here.
Hello.
So my question is about the angel. What type of investor you consider an angel investor?
You know, I think an angel investor is really anybody that can write a check from their own personal account, really. There are angel funds now that are really just kind of like earlier stage venture capitalists. One of the early stage was first round capital a couple years ago, but now they're even later than some angels. But you know, angels have always been seen as the fastest check. So you know, it used to be called doctors and lawyers, and then it was called friends and family. I think now just angels kind of puts a big wrapper around this class of people with money. An angel list is definitely the best marketplace for that. Okay, that was the serious stuff. Now we get to do the fun stuff.
Right on. Okay, yeah, so switching gears.
Oh, so I'm just at Seth on Twitter. The book is thesecretofraisingmoney.com. You can email me, Seth at DJs, if you have any specific questions about raising money.
You said you had a discount code?
I do have a discount code. I have to get what it is, but I'll get it to you.
Excellent. So the other hat that Seth wears is CEO of DJZ. And with that, we now have a demo from Crossfader.
Okay, so are you gonna, Jake, you gonna say something? Okay, so we have 10 minutes. We're gonna have two different people, Crossfade. Will's co-founder and lead designer, and then Ilias is one of our iOS developers and co-founder as well. They're here not because of supporting me, but because they heard that the system at Mighty might be open to demo this on, and that's why they're here. So you're gonna hear a lot of some pretty loud music with some pretty awesome visuals. Crossfader's available now in the App Store. It's the fucking best music thing out there, which isn't saying that much, but it's really, really good.
So Seth, we're gonna do 10 minutes with no Q&A then?
No Q&A, because it's just like there's nothing to Q&A about. You just hear it and experience it and enjoy it. Afterwards, if you want to come up to one of us, we can tell you how we made it. We've got some shirts, some lighters, and one ashtray that we'll give away. And with that, it's all you. I know, it's okay. It's demo or die. So each cube is a 30-second loop. And what Will is doing is crossfading between loops. I'm gonna vamp here. Every time, there we go. We're good now. You DJ just by moving the phone left and right. So as Will tilts one side, you're going to hear one link. We're going to have one loop, and if he tilts the other way, you hear a different loop. If he fans it forward or back, you're going to hear a filter. And if he shakes it, you're going to hear a one-shot.
Streisand.
It's like we're trying to get AirPlay to work so you can see it visually. There we go. There's been about a million downloads so far. There's a library right now of about 900 loops, growing every day. People are starting to upload their own loops. Every day we push out a new pack of a half dozen loops that people can remix. And as you see from looking at the app, there's a lean back experience that allows you to just browse through people's crosses, which is a mashup of two loops. There we go. Okay, Jake, you were right. You're welcome. shifting is automatic, so you don't, it's just the easiest way to DJ. So this is the feed. This is the essentially Instagram for music. And what he's flipping through right now are other people's crosses. So this is a DJ Soul, who's the top right now of the charts. This is Florian. He's got 325 likes. If you click on the like for Florian or one of these. Yeah, click on that link. Okay, so now he's got 326, and now he was just notified that someone liked his cross. And just like Twitter, you can follow, you can be followed. But instead of tweets or pictures, this is music that people are making together. It's kind of like an electronic drum circle. We do parties in our office every other Thursday. We've done this on a bus at South by Southwest from 11 to 3 a.m. We've done it at different festivals. And I think what you'll see in the next couple of years is more and more DJs will go on stage using iPhones, using Crossfader. And then if he hears a cross he really likes, pick somebody else's. I just want to show how you can kind of hold down on it, turn it up and go. It makes music interactive.
Jam and break.
Now we get DJ Ilias. Very different style. Thank you, DJ Will. One of our most active DJs right now is a kid in the Ukraine named Oleg, who's having Crossfader parties in the Ukraine.
This is the time to turn off your mind. This is the time to turn off your mind. Turn off your mind.
Young nigga move that dope. Young nigga move that dope, ay move that dope, ay move that dope. Young nigga move that dope. Young nigga move that dope. Young nigga move that dope, ay move that dope, ay move that dope. Young nigga move that dope. Me, I'm tryna leave the best for later.
TKO. I'm out for the count, girl, you knock me out. It's just a TKO. I'm out for the count, girl, you knock me out. Tryna go below.
Right on, guys. Nice work.
We do weddings and bar mitzvahs.
Right on. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I have some questions, but I guess I'll hold off till later.
No questions.
All right. You guys all warmed up now? Cool. If I think we're on track, after the demos are closed, we're going to plug Crossfader back in and throw the chairs to the side and go crazy. Yeah? Let's do it. Yeah. Cool. Okay, next up, let's talk about self-destructing documents. Moving right along. Right on. Augustine Lim is here. He's the CEO of Digify. Hello. Augustine, are you based here or are you in Singapore? I'm based here. Back and forth? Yeah. So we're going to turn his demo up also. Just kidding. You guys having fun with the app? I'm realizing the integration with Twitter isn't working, which is apropos. So I apologize. I'm not sure what happened. I'm inquiring now. We're done with the HDMI. Take that one. I want to kill time because they're plugging in here, but I don't know what to say. Okay, here, I'll prep you. So part of what we like to do here is give this microphone to folks that have a quick announcement at the end of the night. We call it 60-second spots. So this is your warning, okay, guys? Think about it. If you want to be brave, or not, you don't have to be that brave, but if you're looking to hawk something, or you're promoting an event, or you're looking to raise money, or who knows, grab the microphone and let us know, okay? We're going to do that at the tail end of the night. Also, feel free to start using SFNT Invest. You can rate your companies with your dollars. You can commit now if you want, but I would urge you to commit later after you've seen everybody. You guys in the app? I'm talking like so many things. Are you in SFNT Invest also? Somebody? Nobody? It's inside the app, but it's a separate login, which you should have received an email for. If not, you can create an account there. If this is all over your heads or whatever, just go to sfntinvest.com. You can get there too. All right.
The sound doesn't seem to be working.
The sound doesn't seem to be working now. There it is.
All right. Okay. So
Cool.
that's quite a hack.
So whenever you're ready, Augustine, I will start the clock. You just let me know.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Augustine. I'm the CEO of Digify. So some people call us like Snapchat for documents, and some people call us the Mission Impossible app. So here's why. Thank you. And some people say we watch too much action movies. Right. Yes. I mean, the app today. Actually, we just launched the app on Google Play Store today, so it's actually you can download it. On iOS and the other platforms, you have to wait a bit more, but you can always sign up at digify.com to get early access. Right, so why we started this company, right? So actually this is a pivot for us, and actually as a startup founder, I often have to send out stuff to other people, some of whom I barely know, right? And sometimes financials and all that. Sometimes I wish that there's a way to control the spread or being able to take back some of the information. And actually, as we talk to more people, we find that people in the engineering industries, or creative industries, consultants, or even people who just want to share files and just don't want their boss to see it, right, and don't want it to appear on their wedding day, or just to protect their privacy. So there seems to be a lot of use cases for this. So we built something, and because there doesn't seem to be something out there that can do what we want easily or cheaply, right? So the options are that you can take out things from your slide so that it's less sensitive, but it also makes your proposal less interesting. You can compress your file and then put a password on it, right? So that's what, and tell the password to the other guy. But that's not really effective as well, because essentially you're giving away the lock and the key, right? And one solution that we hear from the scriptwriter industry is that they actually lock people in the room to finish reading the script before letting them go out. Yeah, so this is an easier way of doing it. Right, I'm going to show you the Windows app. So for the Windows app, if you have a sniping tool, right, activated, sorry, and if you try to open the app, you can't. You will say that it's detected a screen capture application and you exit. So it will also happen when you actually run if you actually run a VM, right? If you are trying to run the app within a VM to capture it, it will block as well. And if you try to do screen sharing, it will actually block the attempt as well. Right. All right. So the app itself actually it will it's actually over the container. Okay. Maybe I will just use a backup. Very strange. Okay, demo effect. The Wi-Fi. Yeah, I think so. All right, the Wi-Fi is not working. I'm on the My Teammate. Okay, all right. There it is. All right. So once it's activated, you can see that you're actually in a protected environment whereby you cannot click on any other apps. And let's say if you try to do a screenshot, it'll be blocked as well. So you will not be able to do anything except to view the document within the environment. Right? And then you can actually connect to your computer to actually select a file or connect to Dropbox. Right? And then you can actually serve your Dropbox right out of the app. Right, and then you can just share the file easily. And then you can set the self-destruct timer. This can be anywhere from 1 minute to a month, right? And send it. Okay, and then you can actually view the information within the app itself. Right, so essentially you can view the information and note that you will not be able to copy, save, or extract the information, or even like we shown just now, to do screenshots, right? So essentially it's a very protected environment. Yeah, all right.
Okay, questions for Augustine?
Hi.
Yeah, there's actually one more feature, which is the ability to unshare. So you can actually know who has read it for how long, and you are able to actually unshare the document with one or more parties. All right. Thank you.
Hi, this seems like a cool idea. It's clear that as soon as stuff gets out in the wild, people will be able to, at least photograph it, right? So have you thought about combining this with some sort of digital watermarks so that eventually you can track down those cases where it
Yes,
does get out?
that's something we have thought about in terms of digital watermarks. I mean, another thing is that if you send a document to somebody and somebody else is photographing it, then you got a bigger problem than Digify.
Hands up high for questions. I'm in the back of the room.
Yeah.
Hello. Is it just understood that both sides need to download this piece of software to consume the files and send them?
Yes, that's right. So both sides have to download the software.
And is there a pricing structure on both sides?
It's actually free. So it's a freemium model. You can upgrade to the paid model for more features, like more security and more capacity, for instance.
And that's mostly on the sharing side, that pricing, rather than the consumer of the file?
Sorry?
The consumer of the file would never have to pay?
Yes, the consumer will not have to pay.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? Up front.
So does the consumer actually connect to a service to do the enforcement of the expiration?
Sorry, can you repeat your question? Because I
So,
think there's yeah.
whoa, okay. Is that better? So does the consumer's computer actually connect to a service or somewhere on the internet in order to enforce the expiration of the data?
The consumer would need to download the app in order to read the information, right?
Right, but then once it expires, how is that enforced within the app on the consumer side?
Right, so the app will, actually it's a server client structure. So actually both sides will enforce it. And actually a link will be generated and when you click on the click on the link, you can actually go to the app itself, and the document will open.
So does it work offline?
It currently doesn't work offline. It's always online.
Questions? You guys are making me run for it tonight.
Hi, I have a question about where do you keep the, do you actually keep the data in your servers? Where does it go after it has expired?
After it has expired for all the different recipients, you'll be deleted off the server. So essentially, it's what we do is that we actually stream down the document to the reader.
What's the app name in the App Store?
It's called Digify.
Can't find it.
Okay, it's available on the Play Store. For the iOS, we are still in beta. So
okay.
Yeah, for the iOS, you can actually sign up as an early user on our website, www.digify.com, and we'll give you early access.
Have you thought about any client-side modifications that don't require any download, or even like a browser plugin or something? Because a lot of companies wouldn't allow you to install an application on a computer.
So actually, earlier this year, we did try a web version. So although we did a lot in terms of protection, in terms of no downloading, no saving, and all that, one thing we couldn't prevent is screenshot, right? And a lot of times when we discover that when users send to another party, right, then the other party will actually take a screenshot and send it back. Say, oh, I managed to go around it. So that's why we decided that maybe a better way would be to deliver on the promise of being able to protect the documents and have a native client type of architecture.
I have a question. How do you validate the authenticity of the user? So can I send it to a certain email address, and can then everybody who gets that email access the data I want to share, or how does that part work?
The user will need to set up an account, right, and it's validated via their email system.
All right, we are officially out of time, Augustine, but you're going to hang out. If other folks have questions, they can find you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, and sorry for the hiccups here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, where's Misha from Firechat? There he is, hiding in the corner. I didn't see you back there. So Misha is the CEO of a company called Open Garden, and Open Garden's been making some incredible strides in the peer-to-peer space, mesh networks and whatnot, and their breakthrough with Firechat is an eye-opener, and I think you guys will agree.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Misha, and I am a co-founder of a small startup called Open Garden. And we were here, I think, a year ago to present the first application that we brought to the market that is using our peer-to-peer mesh technology called Open Garden. So I want to thank Miles and his team for the terrific work, and it's always a great pleasure to be here with Miles and his team and all of you. So I'm going to start with a very easy, simple question that I asked, I think, a year ago, but it's how many of you have ever been stuck with no mobile internet connection or a slow mobile internet connection? Please raise your hand. So yes, almost everyone here, and it's the case every day for all of us. And so that's the problem we are solving with Open Garden, is provide you with ubiquitous mobile internet access, and more precisely with ubiquitous connectivity. And the way we do that is by providing you with connectivity through the people and devices that are around you, And I'm going to show you an example of a peer-to-peer mesh network that was built last year during an event. And that's a graphic representation of the network that you can see on the app when you are connected to other people and devices around you. So we got a good start with this app, pretty successful, a great adoption all over the globe. But we wanted for a long time to really start to go mainstream with a more mainstream application. So we saw a lot of what we could launch to make that happen. And during last summer, we figured out that iOS also launched a peer-to-peer connectivity framework, which would enable us actually to bring this technology to Apple devices. So we thought, okay, it's the time we need to bring something on iOS and really show the world what this technology can do. So we decided to bring an application called Firechat that enables you to keep on messaging and sending messages to people around you even when you don't have any internet access. So let me show you Firechat. So there is an everyone mode in Firechat where you can, it's a basic chat room like you had on AOL in the 90s, where you can chat with a lot of people next to you and requires to be connected to the internet. But the most interesting is the nearby feature when basically you can interact with people around you even if you don't have any internet access. And the way it works, it creates links directly to other devices, and then you can start to exchange messages with people around. It's pretty disruptive. We got a crazy adoption and traction since we launched. Like after 15 days, we were #1 in 15 countries in social networking apps in 15 countries. So I think we were #1 in Spain, in Australia, #2 in Singapore, #1 in Taiwan during the sunflower movement of the students there who used it to communicate when the government wanted to shut down the internet. I think we are in the top 10 in social networking in 115 countries. So I mean, we are just we were surprised, but also it's an amazing push, and we are making discoveries every day to figure out how to adapt the product and making it even more useful for our users and to delight our users. The big surprise we brought to the market is 10 days after launching it on iOS, we launched the same application on Android using the whole peer-to-peer networking technology we developed during 2.5 years. And so that's where we are today. And thank you, and I'm happy to answer all your questions.
Thank you very much. It looks like a great idea. I'm not saying that because you're from France and I'm from France. I really like it. It's really good. My question is, how does it work? I know that you can sometimes from your device use your Wi-Fi antenna, but this is not the case, right?
So we use, depending on which platform, the Android or the iOS platform, we use Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. For on iOS, it's the implementation of Wi-Fi Direct that my Apple called basically it's what you use when you use AirDrop. And on Android, we use Wi-Fi Direct and Bluetooth.
Okay. And what is the reach of this?
So typically between 30 to 100 feet. And we can also multi-hop. That means that your messages can bounce from one smartphone to another. And especially with text, there is, I mean, I wouldn't say no limit, but yeah, close to no limit on how far you can go just through the peer-to-peer mesh.
Have you seen downtown there are some stores that have this little device connected on the iPad so that they can charge you with the iPad, which turns into a cash register, and then with the device, they swipe the card, right? You've seen that device? You haven't?
Yeah.
Okay, do you think, like, imagine I'm a hiker and I want to communicate with my other hikers from my group. Do you think you have a little device that could like extend the connectivity of your device?
We use whichever available wireless interface is on the device. If there was a hardware that could extend that, we could use it probably. But with the multi-hopping, you can actually you can reach a lot of people and go pretty far. So.
Thank you. Well done.
I'm just curious, actually. I was just about to install Firechat, and I noticed you actually take social information and contact permissions. What do you actually use those for?
So today we are not using this information, and most probably within the future updates, we're going to provide additional features. So that's why.
Okay, so it's just there for future proofing. All right, fair enough.
Hi, thanks for coming out. I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble controlling the sound of my voice. On going back to the sort of mesh network fundamentals, from Firechat's the only application that you guys are shipping right now in the store?
No, we have in the field of wireless a few applications on Android.
Okay.
With probably, in total more than 5 million installs within all the apps. And on iOS, the only app we have is Firechat.
So just in terms of building large open mesh networks, I've been working on this for a long time. How do you pay for it?
You mean how do you?
How do you?
If we pay for anything, that's what you mean, or?
What's the economic incentive for people to build these networks? Yeah.
The business model for the company, you mean? Okay. So we want to stay free for the end users, and the purpose of this technology is really to disrupt the whole mobile internet industry. We want you to be able to send messages and tomorrow to be connected to the internet always completely for free. And so that this technology is going down that path. That said, once we scale, we basically own a network which is completely virtual, and then we can monetize the network then like any other carrier or mobile operator. And by that I mean you can imagine that there are a lot of items on a mobile and network on the internet that have a lot of value, ads, but in-app purchase, these kind of items. And then we intend to monetize by taking a cut when we enable these items to move through our network.
Is it totally public, or can you create a private network within anyone nearby?
It's a good question. We started with a completely open chat room. So when you broadcast a message, everyone nearby can actually see the message and answer to it. And in a very near future, so I would say very soon, you will be able to have private chat rooms and even more.
I'm back here, guys. Anybody?
Any other questions? Or?
Okay, we have 20.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you, Mike.
Michel. Good stuff. Thank you. You guys, if you're ever out on Treasure Island, go hunt down their office. Talk about unique and cool office space in San Francisco. Yeah, it's cool. I think so. All right, where's Ted? Ted is right here plugging in. You guys having fun tonight? Yeah, me too.
Does this work? Hello? 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 Okay. Hi, guys. Should I wait for the timer here? Okay. Hi, I'm Ted, founder of Discoverly. Prior to starting Discoverly, I worked at Salesforce. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Salesforce. I was there for about 5 years. For the first 2.5 years, I was on the M&A team, and then I moved over to product to work on Chatter. If you're not familiar with Chatter, it's sort of like a Yammer comp, but integrated within Salesforce. And Salesforce's entire business is predicated on one single idea, is that relationships are important. Relationships is what business runs on, as this sort of ethereal fuel that's hard to see and even harder to capture. But with the tools that we use today, like social networks and devices, we're able to capture signals that signal not just where relationships are, but also their strength. And what Discoverly is trying to do is help you visualize those relationships and document their strengths. So what you might think is, Ted, LinkedIn does that. And so let's go through a couple cases of what an entrepreneur like myself or some people in this room might use LinkedIn for. So consider a case where people from Digify are looking for a way to tell the world about the awesome product they've built. There's a tech source called Pando. Is everybody familiar with Pando, Pando Daily? Raise your hand. Okay, great. So Sarah Lacey is the founding editor of Pando. And so if you want to get in touch with her, what you probably would do today is you go to LinkedIn and you look at her profile. She's a second-degree connection of mine, so I can scroll down and I can see our mutual LinkedIn connections, of which we have 4. Okay, great. You know, some of the concerns, like, did these people meet at a conference 4 years ago? I think you've probably all been in a situation where you ask for an introduction and the person says, I don't really know that person. It's that sort of that missing part of where the actual real relationships lie. Another consideration is, say you're, Digify is a way for document management. Maybe they're trying to get in touch with Dropbox to do a better partnership. So you go to, I don't need to see my connections there, but say you're trying to get in touch with Drew. Again, the same case, a second-degree connection. I can scroll down, and we have, looks like 7 mutual LinkedIn connections. But again, trying to find out where the best connection is. And then the third use case we'll think about here is a sort of a recruiting one. Services like Facebook can sort of pool great talent. But if you're startups like myself, you need sort of warm intro to find. Doug is in the back, who's actually came in through his friend who sits next to him. The way we find talent is through our connections. That's how we have a brand, branded through the relationship. And so Benjamin's a guy here as a second-degree connection, and I would use LinkedIn to connect with him. And so what I'll say is that, what if I told you that LinkedIn is missing 2/3 of your connections, most of which are personal? They reside in tools like your phone or in Facebook. So when you're using LinkedIn, you're missing out on those key connections. And what Discoverly is a way for you to get visibility of those connections in context. So the first tool we've launched is a browser plugin, which allows you to connect to your tools. So I'll download the plugin here live. You connect to the tools like Facebook and LinkedIn, and you're able to take that data with you as you travel the web. We'll see how this works live demo. Let's see, let me try to refresh here. Wah, wah. It's okay. We can go to the production version. I should be good to go anyways. Let's see if this works. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. We're good to go. So what you normally would do is I'm operating in a place between the development environment and the production environment. What you normally do is that you connect to your Facebook and you connect to your LinkedIn and you can travel the web with it. So here we go back to Sarah Lacey's profile and we can refresh and say, okay, the question still remains the same, is how can I get an introduction to Sarah Lacey? And here within the context of LinkedIn, I can hover and see our mutual Facebook friends. And here I'm able to discover that my friend Jeff knows Sarah. And that's actually in real life how I got introduced to Sarah. I got introduced through Jeff. 3 days later, she covered us. And now I'm a contributing author on Pando. These relationships were leveraged through my personal connections, not professional ones. Same can be done with True here. If I refresh this page, now with the plugin, I can see that we had 7 mutual LinkedIn connections. We have 29 mutual Facebook friends. And so when you're operating that, you're missing these opportunities. And I can do it this last one, gentleman, like Benjamin before, we had, looks like 5 mutual LinkedIn connections. When I refresh on Benjamin here, I'm able to see our mutual Facebook friends. But this is where we actually have a new feature that we're working on, which we're testing, is I can actually not just see that we have 6 mutual Facebook friends, but I can start to see who actually knows him best. And that's where those signals are. This is based on social interactions, number of mutual connections in common, likes and comments on each other's posts, even photos tagged in common. So these are all sort of the signals that we can capture about who people are and how they're connected, sort of looking beyond just one source. We're sort of social network agnostic. We're just pulling in all these social data signals. And this is a two-way street. So the same can be true as I was invited to a dinner party. I was on Facebook, and I went to one of the profiles of the guests that I didn't know. I'm sorry, it looks like I'm a little over, sorry. But I can hover, and in context, I went to Max's profile. I was like, who's Max? It doesn't say anything on Facebook. I can hover and see his LinkedIn work information and find out that he's the lead on Google Glass. So we're giving context both ways. We're continuing to roll out more integrations where you'll be able to go to a Facebook profile and see your friends' Instagram photos in context, or go to their LinkedIn profile and see their tweets. The idea is that it's your social data, take it with you. So if you have any action item today, I'd love you to check out Discoverly and take your social data with you. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you, Ted. Right on. I've got it installed. Raise your hands for a question. Did you talk about your business plan?
Yeah, so I'm happy to do that. So we actually also, so the tool lets you pull together your connections. We also have, this is in private beta, but we also have a team tool, which allows coworkers to pull their connections anonymously. So if we're all coworkers and I want to get in touch with one of your friends, I would see that a coworker of mine knows Jim, but I wouldn't know which coworker. So it's a way to sort of accelerate that serendipity and accelerate oftentimes used for referral hiring and referral sales. Any other questions for us? Are you all going to go get the plug-in? I hope.
I have a question.
Oh, we've got someone in the back. I'm sure you're wonderful. Great voice.
I'll just hide down here. So what if you want to hide? Actually, you don't want your connections.
I can't.
Oh, I'm back here.
It's hard to me. So you're saying that from the other side, you don't want your connections being seen, right?
Right. Like, what if you don't want to be bothered with introducing
Yeah,
people?
so we're actually not showing the user anything they don't already have access to. We're just making it discoverable in context. Does that make sense? I can already go to your Facebook profile and see if we have mutual Facebook friends. So we're not actually giving any access to information or any privacy violations. We're just making the information already available more discoverable.
Okay.
So that would be, you'd have to unfriend people on Facebook.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You never answered the question, how do you make money?
Oh, yeah, so the idea on the Teams tool is maybe the first 15 employees that join your company's network is free. And maybe between 15 and 30 employees within a network, you start to pay X dollars a month subscription service with buckets. So you don't want to make a weird calculation where you make a judgment call with that employee's connections are worth $2 per user per month. That's kind of weird. But if you clear of like 15 users in a company, you start to pay X. Clear 50, you start to pay Y. Sort of a scalable solution like that.
Or LinkedIn just buys you?
Yeah, LinkedIn could be a potential acquirer. One of the things that we think is important is, if you think about Kayak can't be bought by American Airlines because then United doesn't play. And so as a social network agnostic tool, too close to one puts you at risk with the others.
This is great. I love the way it's doing it inside your social networks. Is this something that, was this something that Zobni was trying to do and others have tried to do within email?
Yeah, so actually, I mentioned before that I used to be on the Salesforce acquisitions team, and we looked at a lot of these places in this space, and a lot of them were using with the best social data available at the time, which was email. But the APIs of these social networks gives you a lot more data and a lot less false positives. And so it's similar to what they're doing. It was just delivering in context. We're just trying to take it with you as you travel the web.
Yeah,
So
the nice part is that you don't have to have a download.
Yeah, it's not like an 8-minute download where you get to see your data.
Yeah, you limit your, but on the other hand, you have to have a mail client.
Yeah, it's sort of realizing some of those dreams. There's lots of companies that have tried this in the past, but they were reliant purely on email. Yeah, in the front. Yeah, so we're looking at email in the future. It's another place where people document their relationships. We've consumed most of the, the social networks. We're looking at tools like Instagram, Twitter. So if I go to your LinkedIn, I should be able to see your tweets if they're publicly available to me. And so we're looking at those places that have more profile content. Email is purely a relationship space. And Rapportive is also providing some tools there already. And so we're trying to go where we're most valuable. But that's definitely something we're looking at in the future. Phone numbers. Yeah, I mean, I think the question we always get is, what about mobile? And one of the things that we're trying to do with the plugin is you don't have to change your behaviors at all. You just use Facebook and LinkedIn as you do normally. We'd love to be able to modify Facebook and LinkedIn's mobile apps to be able to insert ourselves when it's useful, but iOS doesn't allow for that at least. And so our role on mobile is sort of TBD. We're trying to do it in a way that doesn't ask you to change any of your behaviors, but deliver that value in context. Does that answer your question? Text messages, signals. Yeah, so like the very fact that I have your phone number is a signal of social proximity, right? These are all measurements of social proximity. So we'll certainly consider that. Android also lets it have some APIs for text message volumes, which is another signal. iOS doesn't allow that. But again, we don't care about the individual content of anything, sort of like NSA. We just consider about the strength of relationships. Well, thanks for all your questions, guys. Hope you guys check it out.
Right on. Discoverly. Are you all right, dude? He saved his drink. His phone. Was that a phone or a drink? Okay, and our last presentation tonight is David Robustelli. He's the founder and CEO of Twibfy. Twibfy or Twibfy? I always ask you that.
Let's say Twibfy.
Twibfy. Today is Twibfy. Right on. And David was on our stage 8 months ago or so, maybe? Back in August. So there's some updates on Twibfy.
New stuff and yeah, just showing how far we got, and we get a lot of feedback of our users.
Cool.
Since August, we get a lot of feedback of our users, and we're here to show you where we're at right now.
Excellent. So whenever you're ready, I'll start the clock tick.
Yeah, 1 second. And there it is.
Ready to roll?
Right. 1 sec, I have to change the resolution. Okay. Okay, so Twitphy. Yeah, we launched here back in August and with Twitphy, which is a visual platform to get inspiring content, visual content. And what we're trying to do here, we are focusing on the creative community. And we actually took the social aspect of sites as Pinterest and WeHeartIt, and we're trying to combine it with sites as Pinterest or as Behance, Dribble, design inspiration for the content aspect. So let me show you how it works. The main goal we're trying to achieve is to improve the search for when you're like a designer or a photographer and you need inspiration. When you go to Google Images, for instance, you have to go to a lot of content before you might reach that one picture you're looking for, one piece of design you're looking for. So we're actually doing with Twibfy is curating content, and we've added our own UI to make it as easy as possible for users to get the content they're looking for. So I think the best way to show you what we're trying to achieve is to show the search. For instance, when you arrive on the homepage, the first thing you will see is a random feed of images. This is all curated, so every image you see here is picked by our staff, which means there's a specific quality style, specific guidelines for content which is approved by our staff. So for instance, if I want to be inspired by, let's say, design, and it should be red, so we also made the search semantic. I search for red design. And then there's a feed of images which are all tagged with red or design. So what we also did, we written an algorithm which takes the colors of each image, you can see it here, and it places it into a palette of 32 colors. So what we're trying to do here is, for instance, if you compare it to Google, and if you look for red design, you can see a very big difference content-wise. And the difference we're trying to achieve here is to focus very much on these people who have to be inspired on a high-quality scale. For instance, if you're looking here for let's say, jewelry, and you can compare that with what you find here when you're looking for jewelry. You'll see a very big difference, right? This is all more photography, more, kind of a style we're trying to provide to our users. So basically what we're doing is we're trying to get a lot of work out of the hands of designers, of the creative community, or the creative community in general, just people who are looking for inspiration, visual, and you obviously don't have a lot of time when you're in your work, and this is just an easy way to already have filtered content without filtering it yourself. Apart from the search, we are using a user interface which makes it very easy to actually share your content or collect it. For instance, you can just drag anything, share it with your friends on Facebook, where you're logged in with Facebook, or you can share it on any other social networks. You can just share it to your existing collections, or make a new collection with it. So the basic thing is making visual content as accessible as possible for anyone who needs it and who is actually within the creative field. Let me see. Yeah, so basically, that's actually what I wanted to show. The most important thing is here the whole search. Every image, for instance, has been tagged. And this is also how the semantic search works. For example, here you see city, sunset, fog, and you will get some suggestions based on those tags. And you will also see when an image is within a specific collection, and you can get it. That's how we're trying to interact, to have users interact with the content, engage with it, and also having them share the content on a very easy way, without having to first, for example, use your right mouse button to download to your computer. We're just trying to make everything easier. For instance, you can just click this one and it will be added to your desktop, very easy. So the whole user experience we're trying to do here is make visual content, high quality visual content, as accessible as possible for users within the creative community, and filter the content without them having to filter it, and which will speed up your search in a way you will not have it when you're browsing Pinterest, or you're browsing WeHearted, or when you're browsing Behance or something. So that's our platform.
Nice work, David. Thank you.
What's the licensing on the images? Like, is this just to be inspiration, or is there some other uses?
For now it works the same as other visual inspiration sites, except for Flickr, where the content really is licensed by the photographers. We're not claiming any rights of any image. We also always visit back to the original source. So if you click this link, you will be linked back to where we got the picture from. So in this case, it's Flickr. So we do not own any rights of the images. We are developing a marketplace also, where people can upload their own content and also sell it instantly through the platform. So no licensing at all right now.
Hi. So the tagging is handled by the source site, like Flickr? Do you pull it automatically, or do you do it yourself?
No, the tagging is handled by the user. All content you see is user-generated. So people can just upload stuff. For instance, if you go to...
But if I upload it on Flickr, then do you pull my existing tags, or do I have to tag again on
No,
Twitphy?
you have to tag it again. Yeah.
Hands up high with questions. Come on, somebody in the back of the room, make me work for it. Are you for real?
Yeah, it's open. Oh, sorry.
How do you make money?
Yeah, monetizing, I'll show you how we're doing that. We're not going to show any banners at all, because the end user for us is the most important thing. So what we're trying to do is make sponsored content relevant for the user. For instance, this image has been we're working with blogs together. For instance, this image has been uploaded by Fancy. And what we're doing then here, if someone finds it interesting, he wants to visit the source, and links back instantly to the place where you can actually buy that product or that piece of art. And then you can work on CPC or CPM base, or based on lead. We can fire a cookie. We can keep it active for 30 days, and when it gets sold, we know that the user was actually generated by us. That's the way to generate it.
Somebody flagged that?
Sorry?
This was inappropriate? Somebody thought that was inappropriate?
Is it flagged? No. What do you mean this? No, if I click it now, it's flagged.
Questions? So just real quick, David, you are from the Netherlands?
Yeah.
And you're making a go of it here?
Yeah, we're talking with investors and incubators to be based here, because Netherlands is way too small to reach the people we are trying to reach. So yeah, we're looking for an incubator to settle here for a couple of months, reach the right people, and follow our program. Yeah.
Right on. You're on the right path.
Cool.
How many new images are you adding
About 50 to 100 a day. Yeah. We're now on 40K. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
How do you ensure the quality of the pictures? Are they hand curated or?
Sorry?
How do you ensure the quality of the pictures? Are they
it's hand curated. Yeah. And for now we have an own staff who does that because it's doable. I mean, 50 to 100 images is doable a day. And when it gets more, first of all, I see it as a luxury problem. And second of all, we have the idea of doing it the same way Wikipedia does it, and selecting people within the community to curate a specific feed, for instance, design or photography or something like that. That's why of scaling it. Yeah.
As I understand it, the people submitting the images have to upload them to your website separately. So what is the incentive for the content providers to do so?
First of all, they can collect images they like from anywhere from around the web without saving it to their desktop. For instance, if you are on, I want to quickly show you this. We have a plugin which makes it very easy. For example, I can just drag this, I can drop it here, and instantly add it to my profile without leaving the specific site. So you have a cloud where you can collect your own inspiration. And second of all, if you're a photographer and you get staff picked, it would generate extra exposure because it will be featured on the homepage. So exposure and the easiness of having it added to a cloud without leaving any web page. That's basically the incentive for users.
David, if everything's hand curated, how do you plan to scale up?
Yeah, that's also what the gentleman there asked. We're trying to do it the same way as Wikipedia does it, and there's a very big creative community who would like to be respected, and who find it very interested to curate a specific feed, and maybe they can get privileges where they can also get their own content staff picked right away. So that's the idea.
In the same vein of human curating, how are you going to differentiate porn from art, for example?
Sorry, what from art?
Are you going to filter porn, and if so, how are you going to filter it out?
No,
because how are you going to distinguish porn from art?
Yeah, that's a good question. But the thing is, we have our own. Yeah, we have our own kind of style we're following. That's very important. you see the style we are communicating. It's way different than other platforms. And if you don't like it, you should be visiting other platforms. So we decide if something is porn or if it's art.
You decide.
We decide, yeah.
Not the community.
Sorry?
Not the community.
No. Yeah, well, if they like the style, they're actually also deciding, but because then, they have the same taste as we do. So, yeah.
So is a naked human form allowable, or it depends how naked?
Well, you can maybe see some nipples or so, but no.
Nipples are cool.
I mean, if it's inspiring in a creative way, and if it's not like,
What if it's like a U.S. Airlines jet plane?
Yeah, that's a whole other story. It's creative, so might be allowed.
Some call that art, I don't know.
So yeah, we have also a fully developed iOS app, which is synchronized with your web profile. So it's free, check it out. So.
Right on. Cool. Thank you, David. Yeah. Nice work. All right, guys. Cool. Well, this has been like a marathon night. This is awesome. So here's the 60-second spots. This is your opportunity to kind of do this and come up and say something. Don't be shy. You never know who's in the room. That's what I always say. You might walk out of here with a deal or not. So if you have something to offer, 60-second spots, now is your time. Come on up. And after which we are going to close down the ratings from SFNT Invest. So lock in your investments, and then we'll show who won on the screen.
Cool, thanks. I just want to share with those that are interested in digital fabrication, there's a new organization called the Digital Fabrication Network. It was formed about a month ago. Has board members like Carl Bass, Bob McNeil of Rhino, and then also people from the building industry. So if you're interested in digital fabrication, both on the additive or 3D printing side and then the subtractive, and not just for the building industry, but DNA and pretty much everything, do check out that organization, Digital Fabrication Network. They'll also have a hackathon later in the year. So.
Cool, thank you. See how easy that was? Nobody killed him or anything?
How's everybody doing? Is there anybody here who is an iOS developer? Okay, if you're not, and you potentially know somebody, we're working on a productivity tool. We just raised our first round, and we are looking to hire. So if you're interested in working on some really cool shit, and you're a really badass person, come talk to me afterwards. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Right on. Coming up. Just let me remind you guys, stay on this side of that line so we can put you, no, this side. Yeah, that's for the TV.
On the very same subject, I've been hired for only half a week or so at Pycora, which is an awesome company based in San Mateo. And if you are or know people that are developers, Python or JavaScript, or if you know someone that could be a receptionist, we are hiring. Thank you. Attractive salary, food delivered every day, twice a day, that kind of stuff. Thank you.
Nice, and free hoodies. Do it for the hoodie.
Hi, I'm Adrian from Paris. And why I'm here is to get an internship because I'm so passionate about entrepreneurship. And I'm here to meet you. I have a good background and I'm passionate about building a thing. So maybe if you need someone who is hands-on, who wants to learn by doing and is so passionate and very smart, I think so. So please find me.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Merci. Anybody else in the wings? Come, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Okay, I think I'll call that done. Let me just say quickly, if you're working on something cool and want to find yourself on this stage, we have a really easy process. You apply for it. So just go to our website, sfnewtech.com. You'll see a link that says apply to demo, or sfnewtech.com/demo. And throw your best at it, and it lands in our pile, and we sort through them, and we pick what we think will be enough to bring people out to see you. So please apply. There's a tiny fee that's involved, and that just makes sure that we can pay for this room at the end of the night. It's not a lot, and it's a sliding scale. So if you're a dead broke startup, don't hesitate. We'll work with you. All right. So the votes are in, eh? As it looks. Did you guys just real quick thumbs up, thumbs down on SFNT Invest? Did it work for you? Is it better than the voting thing? William puts a thumbs down on that one for some reason, huh? I got to talk to you later, dude. Cool. So I think upon this last refresh, I think it's easy to say that Firechat walks away tonight as the crowd favorite, raising $3.2 million tonight. And he's going to, yeah, right on. So good for Firechat. We'll be writing a check in the back room. We're getting there, folks. That's the goal. But yeah, no, Founder Suite is all for you, and we're working on some other stuff. So if you know what, if anybody here is from a big company that wants to offer cool incentives to startups, like that they would win for winning this, talk to me. I'd love to work a deal with you. All right, Crossfader, let's plug your stuff in. Where's Seth? Where's everybody? William, dude, come on, William. And with that, we will leave you. Yeah, plug in, man. We'll leave you, and I would like to say our next event is 2 weeks from now, but I haven't put it together yet. So maybe you'll hear from me, maybe you won't. And I apologize for all the emails, but that's the only way I can get in touch with you all, right? So just hit delete. Thanks for coming down, don't hit delete. No, hit reply and say thanks, that's all. Cool, we're gonna open the bar in the back, and I'll see you there. Sound good? Right on, guys. Thank you very much for coming down. We love you. It's for real.